What's good? This DJ came in, and I want to give a shout out to Made Famous TV.
Made Famous TV.
Yo, yo, what's up? It's your girl Shamika, and you are now tuned into Made Famous TV. And right now, I'm sitting down with St. Louis's own DJ K Mean. What's good with you?
What's good? Thank you for having me. Shout out
Oh
to Made,
man,
my boy.
a pleasure. Oh yeah. He seemed like he making a pretty good name for himself out here in these streets. Everybody
Working
like
hard for a long
28.
time.
Oh yeah. I've been putting in that work. So I'm excited about interviewing a female DJ.
Okay.
You
I
know,
know we're
because
like an endangered species.
yeah. So let's start off talking about that. What's it like being, or let's go back. How'd you get into DJing?
So I started out just like as a blogger and like a street teamer back when that was a thing, putting up posters, handing out
Mm-hmm.
flyers and stuff like that for labels. And I had always wanted to DJ, but I kind of was just something I kind of kept putting off. But of course, I know a lot of DJs from doing that sort of thing, and so I
Mm-hmm.
kind of was watching them. And one day I just said I'm gonna just actually do it. So then I kind of just bought like a cheap little controller and so started practicing on my own in the corner or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And then eventually I presented it to the world with like a mixtape or where I was mostly a mixtape DJ. Of course, I do events and stuff too, but I was more of like a mix show, and I still
Mm-hmm.
am more of like a mix show. And when I used to do mixtapes, I don't really that much no more.
Okay. Yeah. Mixtapes were really a big thing at one time. So are you still open to putting out mixtapes now, or is it kind of like more so a playlist thing now?
Well, I have dabbled in the playlist thing, but I haven't been noticing that. It seems like artists are trying to go back to like that more authentic sound. So I have been getting some inquiries the last few months. It's strange you say that. Two or three people have come to me about that. So probably in the next few weeks it might be that.
Okay. So what's it like working with artists being a DJ? Because it seems like now there's this thing where there's a battle between the DJ and the artist, like the artists feeling like they don't need the DJs, and the DJs like, yo, you still need us. So what has been your experience?
Well, because my primary like function in the industry and stuff is more of like administrative and behind the scenes, I never really had that battle because just DJing isn't my only skill. It isn't even my primary skill. I
Hmm.
mostly help artists from a more administrative and like brand managing and promotion side anyway. So I was
Okay.
still always able to, stay in tune and be really a liaison between the full time only DJ to,
Hmm.
the artist and kind of make it make sense for both of them.
Gotcha. So you said you started out doing street team stuff.
Yeah.
But you're in because I know like once upon a time like being on the street team was really popular here in Atlanta. I'm here in Atlanta. But you were doing it on the scene in St. Louis.
Yeah. I started doing street team in, I want to say 2006,
Mm-hmm.
2007 maybe. And so that involved going to the club and taking the pictures of people holding the flyers or posters
Mm-hmm.
or whatever, passing out mixtapes and CDs. I did that for probably like 3 years before the market kind of changed and people stopped paying for that for real. But
Gotcha.
from indie artists to major labels, I was interning initially under a certain company. And I started my own thing.
Gotcha. So of course we are in the middle of a pandemic.
Hmm.
So I can only imagine that that's changed the way that things are done from a DJ's perspective.
Right.
So how has being in this pandemic affected your workload or how you do things as a DJ?
Well, again, most of my stuff is mostly like in my own space anyway. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
of course, I do events, but I wasn't never like the all day party every week, so it didn't really change my money, because I'm still able to do what because most of my stuff was done from my own space and my own time anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I am not because of the biggest shit I guess to say because when I was doing my artist relation side, I can't really go to the club and work a song for real
Right.
before. But I mean, it gave me more time to take naps and
Yeah.
my PlayStation is not as dusty as it used to be.
Right.
So I think it's a good thing because a lot of DJs never had time to really like be by themselves or even really practice. A lot of them only time
Hmm.
they just DJ all the time, so they didn't have time to really listen to music or really become fans of music again. I think this is giving a lot of people time to appreciate the art again.
Gotcha. So would you say that the artist still needs the DJ, or what would be your advice to an up and coming artist?
I think it's the kind of music you make and what kind of artist you want to be. Some people like if you make a certain kind of music, it's not gonna get played by a DJ no matter how much people like it. It just don't fit in the scene. So
Right.
it depends on what you're doing and what your goals are realistically. But
Hmm.
I think for like commercial music,
Hmm.
a lot of it helps when you are in rotation as far as jumping it off. And I think more than anything, it's about having that DJ relationship will put you in better position to get booked for those shows outside, because a lot of artists who probably didn't really go the radio route depend on them big festivals and stuff. But the rappers who was with the DJs and do them the club shows, they still get shows,
Gotcha.
because they have those relationships with those promoters who are on more ground level, and DJs who maybe are also promoters, so that they can still do little shows in cities that are able to have events.
Gotcha. So you said you've been wanting to be a DJ for a while. So what made you pick DJing? Like, because the popular thing is to be like, yo, I want to rap, or even being a producer. So what let you know that, like, yeah, why DJing?
I've written songs for other people and stuff like, but I've never been like a personality. It's never been my vibe. So even like doing this interview is really outside of my box. Like when he asked me, I was like, I mean, the real me is like, no, I don't want to do that. But me trying to, step outside my box and expand my reach and all that stuff is something you have to, adapt to. But I've always been like heavy into music, even as a kid, choreographing, performances of, for my cousins and stuff like that. It was just always my thing. And then in high school, I was, the one downloading the songs and making the mix CDs for people. So even before I was actually making mixtapes, I was really, making that still. It just wasn't me mixing it. And so I just thought that, being a DJ was a natural evolution. I tried making beats, but them little clicking them dots on Fruity Loop didn't work for me. My patience don't extend that way. I've been thinking about going back to it and maybe trying it, but the amount of time it takes to put the beat and find the right sounds, and it didn't work for me.
You probably be real good at it though. Most DJs are good at producing.
Yeah, I always said if I had like a real like drum machine, I probably could do it. But the little, like at the time when I was 19, just clicking the little buttons.
Oh yeah,
and I didn't have no money to buy no equipment.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't do it. So maybe now that I'm grown, I could probably maybe get a machine, and I might could do it now.
Gotcha. Well, you definitely, this don't seem like it's outside of your comfort zone. You definitely seem like you got a personality. So don't sell yourself
I have
short.
a personality. I'm just not in front of the camera kind of person.
Oh, I got you.
Not really my thing.
So, who are some of your influences?
Oh, that's a tough question. I think I was more of a person who like observe everything, and not necessarily one particular person I would say influenced me. I was someone who, like, even now, if I want to know something, I just actually look at it and read up on it. So I think it's just a collective of how the world was when I was coming up in the late 90s, early 2000s, and there was so much stuff happening with TV videos and stuff. I kind of absorbed it all at the same time and was able to kind of take this and that from it. And I'm not like big on books, but I only read biographies, and so that I could pick from people's story and kind of apply it to my own life. So I wouldn't say one particular person, but of course, like my family and stuff like that have influenced me.
Gotcha. So books, what's your favorite biography?
This is gonna sound crazy, but do you know who Gino Auriemma is?
Enlighten me.
He is the basketball coach for the women's basketball program at the University of Connecticut.
Oh,
so that was one of the first biographies I think I started reading years ago. I still have it. And so he was born in Italy originally. And he moved to New Jersey or somewhere in America when he was like a kid. And so basketball taught him how to speak English and all this other things. And he basically pulled it up from being a coach at some small school to being the biggest, women's basketball coach in the world.
Gotcha. Are you a hooper? Used to be a hooper?
I was. You see, I got on the WNBA.
Yeah. Who's your favorite WNBA team?
Favorite team, I guess, is technically the Mercury, because Diana Taurasi is the best player ever.
Gotcha.
But also the Sparks, because I'm a Lakers fan, really.
They don't have the Sparks just lost Candace Parker.
Wilding.
She just went to Chicago, right?
Yeah, she's crazy. Now I gotta throw my jersey away. I'm not gonna do it though. But
it's a throwback now.
Yeah, exactly.
Throwback. So okay.
But Diana Taurasi is my favorite player. So.
Oh yeah.
She so I'm a Mercury fan. My brother lives in Phoenix, so I was able to go to a Phoenix game before. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, I going to those WNBA games sometimes, or a lot of times, they're more exciting than the NBA games because those women be competing.
Yeah, and it's like a family environment. Kids.
Yes.
It's less pressure.
Yes.
It's really way more family friendly.
Oh yeah. So I gotta ask you, since I got a female DJ up here, this whole Salt-N-Pepa thing with DJ Spinderella,
it's embarrassing actually.
Is it really why you say that?
I think that they, their standpoints may be valid on saying that she is it's not Salt-N-Pepa, Spinderella. Fine.